Desmond Cawley, Next Gen Hotels.
Desmond, thank you so much for having us down at SIRO One Za'abeel.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Good to have you here.
This is a concept close to my heart, as you know, because I've stayed here and I'm absolutely mad into my fitness. So this is one episode that I was probably looking forward to that was in the diary for a while. So thanks a million for sitting down. Before we get into SIRO, which is a concept I've wanted to see the industry bring to the market for as long as I can remember. I think for everyone watching and listening, if we just take Desmond out of SIRO for a second, and part of this podcast is also to show younger individuals getting into the world of hospitality where you can start and where you can ultimately end up in your career. So can you bring us through a bit of a career highlights? You don't have to go into everything to the detail, but just a bit of highlights of maybe what your first role was and how you became hotel manager of SIRO today.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I've always had a background, a vested interest in health and fitness, being sporty myself. I'm a runner, but started actually my career as a chef many moons ago. Saw it as a bit of a glass ceiling. I mean, outside of my chefing times, I was always organising the running clubs for hotel guests and all these sort of things, and then slowly transitioned into sports and leisure. I've been in the region for 19 years now, started as a sports and leisure manager, then moved to more resorts as director of sports and leisure, ultimately executive director of wellness for another hotel company, and then a couple of years in Saudi, and now transitioned here as hotel manager for SIRO One Za'abeel.
Amazing. With SIRO, the concept, just walk us through what the concept is. SIRO, maybe I think people would really love to hear the ideation of it, where did it maybe originate from, and how does it process from sitting in a room talking about an idea to bringing it to life? How does that look?
So SIRO is part of Kerzner International, which is a legacy making brand in the luxury five-star hospitality space, as you know. And innovation's always been at its core, in its DNA. And I think they've seen the growing global community of like-minded individuals. I mean, today's global wellness market is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, with wellness tourism being a significant part of that. So the opportunities is there, the demand is there, and through that, SIRO was born, really. We have 5 brand pillars, which we can talk about at some point. I can take you through that. But really, there's a market there, and it's really trying to take advantage of that growing demand.
With the wellness tourism, do you see already from the few months that you've been open here that are people coming here specifically for the property for a wellness retreat, or are they corporate executives who want to have a wellness as part of their day? So before they, Arabian travel market this week, everyone's in town, people wanting to get a really good workout in the morning before they head off for work, and then maybe relax in the evening after a long day. How are you seeing this particular SIRO?
Yeah. Well, part of the genesis of actually creating it was for business travelers, our CEO in particular, noticing, when you're traveling, decompressed on planes, needing to recover, going to hotels and not having the expansive fitness facilities that you would like to have, the recovery treatments, nutrition element, all those things. So yeah, here in our location at SIRO One Za'abeel, our proximity to the airport, the World Trade Center for exhibitions, a lot of business travelers that health enthusiasts, fitness enthusiasts. You certainly don't need to be an athlete. The I in SIRO is for inclusivity. So we're a welcoming space for all.
Okay. I'd love to actually get into the guest experience in a second, but first, we're in this incredible building at One Za'abeel. I think people drove by it for many years wondering what was going to be in it. So obviously under the Kerzner umbrella, maybe for a second, can you kind of give us a bit of an overview on the building? Because then maybe we can put some pictures of it now as you speak over the video. But would love to know about the building.
Very iconic. So we're sitting in the 300-meter hotel tower. We have 2 hotels, so One and Only and SIRO One Za'abeel here. And then the residence tower accompanying. And then straddling between is the cantilever, which we have all our world-acclaimed Michelin star chefs. Really iconic. This is a new dining destination for Dubai. So we're a vertical urban resort. It's something really special to come and see.
How did 2 hotels in the one building coexist? Obviously, it's very helpful. It's under the same umbrella, but how have you found it coexisting?
Yeah, I mean, because we're a 300-meter building, perhaps too many rooms for one and only to be as niche as they would like. So this is where SIRO then came into the equation, that we can have the two hotels in one building and have the benefit of shared services in terms of housekeeping in some of the restaurants, for example. So we get the best of both worlds, and obviously in this iconic property.
So that does happen. You can share housekeeping, you can maybe share breakfast rooms, stuff like that.
Correct, yeah.
Brilliant. When we look at the guest experience, so SIRO is very much promoted as, the wellness retreat. If I'm going to a hotel that has a good, fitness and spa offering, what would you say the difference in the guest journey is coming to a SIRO property versus going to another hotel here that has just a good offering of fitness and spa?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of five-star hotels, certainly the fitness facilities are normally an amenity. It's tucked away, a windowless basement, a couple of ellipticals. For us, it's front and center of who we are, our fitness and recovery. We have 2,000 square meters dedicated to it. We're on the same level where you check in on level 30 for SIRO One Za'abeel. That's the same level as the fitness lab. So it's, again, front and center of who we are. We have that dynamic community. We want it to be a lively, social, interactive place. And the recovery treatments we have differentiate greatly from a traditional spa. We have a lot of modular treatments. We have seamlessly integrated a lot of cool technology. When you talked about the influences at the start of our chat, we've worked with Best in Class, a key collective of international athletes, to see what products and services they use and integrated those into our facilities. So it's really something special, unrivaled, unparalleled, I would say. And moreover, all of these facilities and services are in one facility.
And it's kind of promoted as like, forgive me if I'm getting this wrong, digitally integrated guest experience, which is obviously close to our heart as a business with Shackle. So, what does that mean and what does that look like in practicality?
Yeah, so we have our proprietary SIRO app. So this allows us to engage with our hotel guests and members. So if you're a hotel guest prior to your stay, we can push the app to you to download if you wish. And that allows us to engage. So for example, we would prompt you to suggest what are your goals, your aspirations. So then we can recommend certain group exercise classes, the recovery treatments. If you have any special dietary requirements, we have our in-house nutritionist. Digitally, as the app evolves, there's a lot of functionality to it under our brand pillars, but integration with our guest management system. So for example, the app, if you set the alarm for the blackout blinds, digital check-in, if you wish your privacy, if you don't want to have the physical check-in, the ability to do that. Other areas of the business, for example, integrating with our body composition analyzer. So yeah, we really want to be sort of high tech, but obviously not forgetting that technology should always be an enabler and not a substitute for that personal engagement.
Yeah, listen, we're in complete agreement with that statement. Holistic health is kind of a word that can be maybe misunderstood or overused even in some places. So when you think of that word, holistic health, which is something close to your heart here at SIRO, what does that mean? Yeah,
it's taking part of the whole person and the whole wellness journey. So for us, we have 5 brand pillars to our concept, which are fitness, recovery, nutrition, sleep, and mindfulness. We all have a unique physiology, different goals, aspirations. So it's having the abilities to curate a bespoke, personalized journey for you, depending on what your goals and aspirations are. And within the 5 pillars, we think that we can do that really comprehensively.
With putting that into the guest journey before they book, is that difficult? Because a lot of people might go into one of the OTAs, or they might book last minute. Something so holistic feels like there needs to be more thought behind it when booking. But I know we still live in a world where we do get last minute bookings and maybe a couple of days before or even a week or 2 before. So how difficult or challenging or just getting in front of the right consumers is a completely new concept that's fully dedicated to wellness?
Yeah. It's subject to the individual. Some people like to plan and coordinate their stay ahead of time, but you're absolutely right. Some people would rather be here. And it's only really when you immerse yourself into our products and services, you get the full array and a full understanding, I believe. So yeah, a lot of times people would rather come here and make their decisions there, but we're here before their stay. We have our experienced concierge, our SIRO guides, to assist, and certainly on site we have our dedicated team to make sure that we try and create that seamless journey for you.
But getting in touch with a new audience is kind of where I'm trying to get at it with this. So, and maybe this is a good question for, you're the hotel manager pre-opening. I'm sure you were excited because, sports and running is something close to your heart. So being able to open, I think, is it the first ever fitness-orientated wellness property? Certainly in this.
Absolutely, from a fitness and recovery point of view.
Yeah.
We don't want to discriminate, so we now call ourselves as the ultimate hotel for an active lifestyle because we talked about business travellers before. I think we don't want to have the misconception that you need to be an athlete or entirely sports minded. It's really for everyone that wants to live without compromise and engender those healthier habits.
So on that point, get into those users pre-opening and then during opening. Like, what different strategies maybe have you had to use compared to someone going on to booking.com and filtering 5-star beach palm, and then you just pick, what are the different strategies you've had
so
to
our
use?
keyword search in terms of search engine optimization would initially be around fitness and recovery, all of those areas, but also business travelers or proximity, as we talked about. We want to make sure that we want to be appealing to everyone that has a vested interest in a healthier lifestyle. And obviously we're a new brand, but we have the support of Kerzner International, which is obviously well respected and known in the industry. So it's really now, as a new brand, being the baby, the infant. We believe this is going to be the incubator brand for Kerzner International because, as we said, there is a growing market. So we're going to grow very quickly, and it's really getting our word out there internationally. Certainly regionally, we partnered, did a lot of sponsorship events with Dubai Marathon, for example, High Rocks, these type of events to really introduce ourselves to the world.
Okay, so that's one element of something different, partnering with sports events. You're obviously partnered with a sports club as well, I believe. So maybe you can is that part of the overarching go-to-market strategy of...
Absolutely. I mean, that's been hugely beneficial for us to partner with AC Milan, for example, as the official hotel partner. That really translates from what could be perceived as a marketing concept into the reality of having that authenticity and integrity of the brand, because traveling to AC Milan, to the training camp, to see how the professional men's and women's team train, eat, sleep, recover, bringing back that methodology and some of the products that you use really sets us apart and has that best-in-class mentality. Although, again, as I say, you don't need to be an athlete to be here with us. It just means that you can be assured that it's a well thought through concept and executed really well.
We're in one of the Zen rooms right now. So I think sometimes I'm not too interested in hotels giving me the blurb of what's in their hotel, but I am very much interested in this one, and I think people would be too. So can you give us like the start to finish, what's in the property? Maybe go through some of the recovery rooms that and bookings that you can make if you were a guest here, just because it's quite unique, right? You don't find it in...
Absolutely. I mean, mindfulness is one of our brand pillars. I think sort of the post-COVID era, everyone has become certainly more attuned to their mental well-being, looking after their mind as well as the body. So we've created a brand pillar around this. So you'll see in the Zen room, this is just an area that hasn't been commercialized. It's an area to digitally disconnect from your mobile phone, tranquility, read books, chill out. We also have our relaxation lounge, so pre-treatments, an area where you can go within the treatment rooms themselves, some recovery and more mindfulness treatments in terms of our Wellness, which uses sound and vibration technology to help relax the nervous system, de-stress again, which is very important. Certainly within our group exercise classes, I think historically, if you looked at a group exercise timetable, you would have seen really geared more towards cardiovascular and conditioning classes. Now more a holistic approach with mindfulness classes in terms of yoga, Pilates, meditation, sound healing, breath work, and this is what we're tapping into and putting on our timetables as well.
Okay, amazing. With the food, which I think I was shocked at when I opened up your room service menu, it was one of those things that like I organically posted it online because it was so unique to see in a hotel, in a good way.
Thank you.
Before I asked the question, don't worry. I organically posted it, which I think is always the true testament of something that's done well, because it's not a paid promotion, right? Someone just experiences a great offering and they naturally want to share it. I go to stay in hotels probably, 100 times a year out of my 365. So I'm a pretty avid traveler and experience of hotels. the room service menus in some are just absolutely shocking still to this day. It's like club sandwich, burger, pizza, pasta.
Yeah.
And like, come on, like the consumer has just grown so much more in like what they would like to eat, especially the corporate consumer. It might have been bottles of wine and burgers historically. They're so much more attuned to their health and well-being now.
Absolutely.
Like your food room service menu is incredible. So maybe like, can you talk about how you approach the culinary options you wanted to give people?
Yeah, certainly the culinary journey has been a long time coming. We put a lot of thought and effort into it. As I said, we have our in-house nutritionist, qualified dietitian, that's helped to develop the menus with our chefs. So you have the complete nutritional visibility. It's a modular dining concept. So all the dishes, you see the macronutrients, how many grams of fats, proteins, carbs. You can add, subtract, 24 hours. Yeah, I mean, it sounds a cliche, but you can't out-train a bad diet, as you know. I always say your body's built in the kitchen and polished in the gym. Yeah. So, it's a significant part of who we are, and yeah, it's a vital component for overall health and well-being. And so that's why it's pleasing to hear that feedback, because yeah, we spent a lot of time on it.
Yeah, even your Czech experience, maybe you could talk us through that. It's even different in terms of the little shots you give and the juice bar behind, like.
Yeah, so our signature welcome drink, for example, is an immune-boosting watermelon cooler. So watermelon being one of the highest in alkalinity to improve your pH levels, which is great. Obviously, very rehydrating also, and the touch of cinnamon helps to regulate your blood sugar, ease digestion. The protein balls are gluten-free, soya-free, vegan. So yeah, I mean, it's a little bit irreverent, a little bit fresh and different, and very contemporary about, and it really reflects who we are. When you're checking in on level 30 of SIRO One Za'abeel, this is how you're welcomed. You'll see the refuel bar there, where we have our signature protein shakes, juices, healthy salads, community areas, the collective, which is our amphitheatre on the same level as well, which is all about education. So we do seminars, activations around our brand pillars of fitness, recovery, nutrition, sleep, mindfulness. So it's a good vibe, and that's what we try to create.
You've obviously talked about the I being inclusivity in SIRO, and something I'm always wary about is try not to be too biased to what I love, which is fitness. So sometimes I can get caught up in like, this is everything, but you mentioned the market cap of what's out there for wellness, but do you believe there is fully a market for such a dedicated wellness property globally? Like, is the demand there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all have health and fitness goals. We all, from a self-actualization, we're all trying to be the best version of ourselves. So it doesn't matter where you are on your wellness journey. I mean, we have a lot of sedentary guests that, potentially could be intimidated to come into an environment where they're not welcomed. But, wherever you are on your journey, we have someone that can take care of you, personalize, make a bespoke program for you, assist, guide you. Of course, a lot of the more elite athletes know exactly what they need to do, don't need that same level of guidance and instruction. But yeah, we're able to be agile depending on the individual that's in front of us.
With an opening of any property, and not everything goes right, and hopefully we don't get too much of a political answer here, which is most of the answers we get, because we're really trying to learn here. So like, we'll maybe rephrase it to any fun anecdotes, but really what we're actually trying to get at, like, what were the things that maybe went wrong on opening that, was a great learning experience for you. So if someone else is listening and they're opening a property in a few months, maybe you can give them a bit of advice. But, not everything in life is perfect. So opening such a property, which is stunning, like any anecdotes that you look back and you go, oof, it was a good week, but it was a tough one.
Yeah, well, I remember from the beginning when we're looking at CAD drawings, blueprints, and I'm in the hard hat, it's a construction site. And that transition from the concept to reality to being open, I don't think any hotel open you're ever fully ready. You have to draw a line in the sand, and there's always snagging to be done. But to be honest, it was actually a pretty successful opening. There's always refinements that come there afterwards, but because we're a new property and significantly where we are and who our owners are, there's been a lot of tours from investors, a lot of tours with media, journalists, and elite athletes as well. And what's really been validating for me is the positivity of the responses we've had, because, as I say, the diversity of facilities and services we have, which are all encapsulated in one facility, really is honestly unrivaled, I think.
I'm going to give you a B- for that one.
Very good.
You live and breathe the brand, right? As you said, you're still obviously an active fitness enthusiast. If you were to say, and it's amazing that you are the hotel manager here, because it's always nice that someone represents the brand values at the front. But is there any, like, what part of SIRO that, like, when you get up in the morning and you're speaking to friends, what part of it, like, resonates with you personally, just as a human, more than the hotel manager the most?
Yeah, well, two answers to that. So from the guest perspective, so where we get, and we've got great customer service feedback, and a significant contributor to that is the sleep component. Our guest rooms, there's so much thought and functionality. We talked about having sleep consultants involved to make sure that there's a restorative night's sleep. I mean, as you know, to optimize performance and your productivity, it's imperative that you're not fatigued, jet lagged. So there's been a lot of design elements, from the thermoregulating mattress, the extensive pillow menus, the blackout blinds. We talked about the healthy minibar refreshment centers, anti-gravity chairs, the recovery wardrobes of all your yoga mats, the virtual training classes that are on the projectors. So personally, I'm happy about that, because that's reflected from the guest feedback. But personally myself, what I enjoy most is the recovery, hot and cold modalities particularly. I'm talking about the steam room, the infrared sauna, the cold plunge, the cryotherapy that we have, those recovery protocols. Certainly, when I'm having an intense workout, that's, going into the cold plunge pool afterwards to flush out that metabolic waste when I get out and the blood vessels go from being constricted to dilating again. It's refreshing for me. And the cryotherapy, as you know, is a very quick but highly effective treatment as well for inflammation and just releasing those dopamine levels.
Yeah, the cold plunge is a tough one at the start, but you do feel great after it. With the sleep, and I think this is something that anyone in Dubai will resonate with, is, even if you rent an apartment or buy one, the next day there's a building starting working beside you, or it's up, and this is the city that never sleeps, I think, a lot more than New York, in my opinion. Music can be loud sometimes, there's parties going on, there's building works 24/7, so there's only so much you can do in the room. How is that tough to manage? Do you not experience it here? Do you have empathy for other hotels that are trying to go that way, and then the crane arrives the next day beside you? Because, like, if you're a Dubai resident, you just know this, you're like always so nervous when you put down that pen to sign either a rental agreement or a purchase agreement.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always going to be challenging if you have these type of issues, but then obviously we rely on our maintenance, engineering and technical services team to do the acoustic testings, to see how we can look at the soundproofing, the dampening, to try and mitigate these concerns. But Dubai is a lively, vibrant city, and you're going to get these challenges from time to time, but so far so good.
Yeah, okay, good to hear. I still have your eye mask, the green SIRO eye mask I take with me, so I'm branding myself on the Emirates flights.
Excellent, thank you.
The future for SIRO, right? I'm assuming it's not just going to be one of one. So if you are able to share, I think people would love to hear, like, what's next for the next couple of years for the brand.
Yeah, well, certainly under the Kerzner umbrella, I think there's only going to be a handful of Atlantis. That's a sizable investment, and one and only as a hotel brand. They want to keep niche, but SIRO, as I said at the start, is going to be the incubator brand, the accelerator brand, because of the growth industry in this particular area. So aspirationally, I think it's safe for me to say, I think we're looking at 100 globally. We've already have some signed, which I can talk about, some not yet released, but obviously here in Dubai, Montenegro, Riyadh in Saudi Arabia are signed, a couple more signed, which I don't think I can disclose as yet. But yeah, so we're on the way. We've only opened, from February, the first one, and already we've got a handful signed and much more to come.
Is there a difference? Montenegro is purpose-built for SIRO?
Yes, absolutely. So different SIROs will have a different sort of sporting leaning. So the nature there would lend itself to encapsulate more with the sailing, cycling, those areas. Certainly future SIROs will make sure that we always have a dedicated restaurant and 25-meter lap pool as part of our standard setup. So yeah, I think as SIRO grows and evolves, you'll see little tweaks, and depending on the location and the needs of the consumer there.
When does Montenegro open? Is there a date?
End of this year.
Okay. I have an Ironman in September, so I'll have to do another one next year and go to Montenegro. But right, if we could take Desmond away from SIRO for a second, just as the hotel manager, a few final questions, but it's more for the industry. Something maybe that you're quite passionate about, that you'd like to see a little bit of change in the industry. So for, like, my example is, I think technology can be used to take away a lot of the admin tasks in hotels that we're doing and allow the team in the hotel to spend more time delivering hospitality to the guests. So that's something I think I'd love more hotels to continually adopt technology, not to take away the guest experience, but actually to enhance it. So for you, if there's like a bit of advice that if you had a room full of hotel managers here and you could give your advice to them on maybe some changes you'd like to see or some initiatives you'd like to see driven further a bit more, what would they be?
Yeah, I think sometimes when you look at the manning of hotels, and you're right, and a lot of hotels now with technological advancements are trying to be more high tech, low touch, moving away from, as I said at the start, the personal engagement still needs to be key. We're in the hospitality industry. Technology should be an enabler. I think, with a lot of the digital innovations that are happening now in our industry, very positive, very supportive, but we should always not forget that, we're, as human beings, social creatures. We crave connection, we crave that sense of community. So that's what I would always advocate, is to make sure that we always have that personal engagement and that hospitality 5-star touch.
Yeah, completely agree. If you were to talk about some challenges you think the industry is facing today, is there anything that you're talking to your friends about and you're like, we need to keep an eye on this? Anything that's a bit of a challenge you feel as an industry we're facing?
Not universally, no. I mean, always there's day-to-day challenges. I mean, that's what I love about hospitality. No 2 days are the same. There's always something different. But I mean, it's so variable. There's nothing unified that sort of keeps me up at night that I'm worried about. Dubai is an incredible place for me personally to be, because I do worry when I see all these hotels popping up. How is it going to be sustainable? But then more flights come in and it continues to grow. So at the moment, no, everything is fine.
It's funny you say that. Many people have Mr. Lawless, Gerald Lawless, the founding CEO of Jumeirah Group. He always said that if His Highness had asked hoteliers how many hotels we should have in Dubai, we probably would have said 6 and stop at that. So, but somehow they keep delivering enough guests to fill the room. So I think we'll continue to see Dubai grow with the vision they have. Just final question: if you were to give a younger aspiring hotelier who's starting their first day tomorrow in the industry, what's some pieces of advice you'd give them to have a successful career?
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I was at the Arabian Travel Market yesterday and I was talking to an intern that's coming into the industry, checking out different departments to find out where she wanted to be as a hotelier. And it's really about obviously following your passion, persevere towards that goal, but be authentic. No one likes plastic flowers. So make sure that you're in the right space for you, because obviously, as we know, in the hotel industry, you're working long hours. So you've got to try and enjoy it.
Yeah, brilliant. Listen, Desmond, thank you so much. Thanks for having us down today. Really enjoyed it.
Enjoyed it. Thank you so much.